Hello, welcome back. Another video. Today back in the garage and I'm gonna sort out the engine bay, ready to put the engine back in. The engine is the one I rebuilt on the previous two videos. I'll just show you a quick picture. There's the engine. It's had a quick refresh as you've seen on the previous videos, and I've painted a few bits and pieces, various brackets just to tidy it up where it was all corroded. But that's ready to drop back in. Obviously it still needs the cylinder head yet, but it can go back in without that. So before I put the engine back in, obviously it makes sense to tidy up the engine bay. What I've done is there's a few bits and pieces that were looking old and tired, so what I did was I just rubbed them down and give them a quick coat of primer and top coat, just to tidy the engine bay up a little bit. If you can see behind me there, it was basically the bulkhead section in there was looking a bit ropey, and then there was a bit down the inner wing on that side, and the inner wing over on this side was really bad. It had some bodywork, but we left the engine in, which you should have taken it out. So one of the first jobs I got to do is these brake pipes. We're changing from vented discs to 7.5 inch because it's going down in wheel size from 13s to 10s. Right, this side was really awkward to do because obviously I have to undo these brake pipes to go through the subframe to change. Oh, there it drops. And this one here was really stiff where it screwed into that pipe there. So my top tip is to take off the nut and move it out of the way, so that when you're applying heat to that section that just fell out, you're applying heat to the whole section of it, not heating up the nut that's on the outside of it. So I did that, got it nice and hot, and then that one unscrewed without any problem. So it just needs a bit of a clean up just to get any dirt and stuff off these threads. And on this side, I'll move the light. It just needs a bit of a clean up as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rub down the subframe and give it a coat of paint as well in a few areas. But these are quite easy to undo. You need a 3/4 inch spanner for the underside, and then this one, I don't know what it is in Imperial, but it's 24mm, and you just unscrew that. But obviously that comes undone first. That's what's that, 7/8. I don't know, something like that, 11/16 maybe by the look of it. So just undo that and then undo that, and then it all just drops out quite easy. Okay, so that's that undone and undone on that side. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean up the paint in sort of that area on both sides and just give it a once over, and then along the back of the subframe as well, where I had a bit of overspray on it, and clean up all on that side that hasn't been cleaned up yet, and just give it a coat of paint before I put the engine back in. And then obviously by then in the morning paint will be dry, so I'll be able to put these fresh brake pipes back in. These are the pipes that are going in, replacement pipes. That's the caliper end, and obviously that's where it goes through the bulkhead, through the subframe, just as the one that I've taken out. It also comes with the fittings. Oops. Which are those? There's the big nut, and the small copper washers are to go between there and the caliper. So the trick is to put that end in your caliper first to fix its position that way, and then stick that end up through your subframe like that, and it'll look somewhat like that. by the time it's in. Because if you put this end in first and get it tightened, it might be out of position, and then you'll not be able to screw this end into your caliper properly, because you need to be able to turn it obviously from this end. So that's just, make sure you do that first. Caliper end first, then subframe end, and then that pipe that I just undone just goes into the top of there with 2 copper washers either side of it, which I'll have to source because they don't come as part of the kit. Okay, it's next day now. Brake pipes are in, all the paint that I did is dried, and the engine bay, you can see there beside me, is ready for the engine. So all that remains is to put some straps on the engine, get the crane set up and drop it in. The idea being without the end housing on it, you can see there, without the end housing and without the engine bracket on the radiator side, you can drop it in without moving the servo. And then once the engine's so far in, you put the attachments on and then drop it the rest of the way once it's past the awkward bit where the servo is. Right, welcome back. Another afternoon in the garage. Yesterday, as you should have seen, I've got the engine back in. I've started connecting up some of the various parts around the engine bay. I got the shifter linkage all fastened up. I got the drive shaft in on the passenger side, and I've just started to fasten up the hub and the brakes. And I've come across an issue with the brake pads that I knew about. But I thought it might be useful to illustrate it to anybody that's not aware. When you're fitting the Mintex pads into the alloy 7.5 inch calipers, they don't fit straight in and you have to modify them. So if you can see the difference here, this is one that I bought from Mini Sport, if it'll focus on it. Focus, there we go. You can see the corners have been chopped off, and that's a standard one. So what I've done is on the back of there I've transcribed the lines to mirror that, and also on the edges they don't slide into the calipers properly because they're too wide. So you see this one's already been prepped by Mini Sport and they've taken the edges off. So I need to do the same with all 4 of these ones. They are different caliper, they are different pads, different compound, but dimensionally they're absolutely identical. They're basically the Metro 4-pot setup. And I don't know if I can show you the difference, but it's such a tiny bit of difference. But I mean, basically, if it'll focus, I'll see if it'll focus. That's the difference you're looking at there. It's basically you're just running the flap disc along the edge to take the paintwork and the finish off, and there's your difference, and that'll allow the pad to slide inside the caliper. So the job will be just to modify those next. Okay, that's the pads modified. If it'll focus again, you can see I've done the edges on them all the way around. It's only the inner one that needs the corners taken off. The outer one can stay square, so you just need to do the edges. I only just took off the roughness of the paint and a tiny little bit of metal. It's just once over with the flap oil, and that's all it was. So yeah, I've just done a test fit and they're going nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to whack a bit of paint on them quickly to make sure they don't rust too bad. And then there's an anti-rattle shim that sticks on, and then in a case of bottle it all up. Nice and easy.